My favorite word is very difficult, but I think it's solidaire, because it's a word that we can't say in English. It's much more clumsy and wordy. So in order to be solidaire in English, I'd have to say I'm united with, or I'm in solidarity with. But in French, solidaire, c'est très bien. Very difficult. I first thought of Agnès Varda and the Nouvelle Vague, and then I thought of Georges Sand. But this is something I don't want to be, but I absolutely want to be a fly on the wall in her life. And that's Madame Tussaud, who, she's French, she was born in Strasbourg. She had the most extraordinarily interesting, dramatic life, and her life covered all the upheavals in Europe. Because of the Seven-Day War, her father was killed, her mother went to Switzerland, where she lived with a doctor who modelled in wax bits of anatomy. And so she became very good at modelling in wax. And eventually, when this doctor died, he left her a lot of his personnages in wax. But she eventually did the heads of Rousseau and Benjamin Franklin. And then when the revolution came, she was thought to be a royalist sympathizer. She had her head shaved for the guillotine, but she was saved. But she was then made to do the mortuary masks of people like, of the king, Marie Antoinette, Marat, Robespierre. Extraordinary. I don't want to be her, but her life is very interesting. This is impossible, but I settled on Degas, Edgar Degas, because I love his drawings. I love his sense of movement. He hated being called an impressionist. He didn't like being, and he hated people who the artists who painted en plein air. He was somebody I studied when I was at school, so his drawings were on postcards were the first things I pinned up on the wall. And he was a fan of Ingres and Daumier and Delacroix, who are all artists that I admire. This is very difficult too, but I mean, I think it's always been a love-hate relationship, but it's very intense because in England we don't talk about much Germanophobes or Hispanophiles, but we do talk about Francophile, and are you Francophile or Francophobe? So it's a very intense, with a very intense history. And when I was researching one of my books, which was going to be set in France, I was just amazed here at how many publications there were on the love of France for everything, the French way of life, you know, the food, the roads, the weather, the paysage, underwear, everything. And I don't know whether, I asked my French friends, you know, what do they like about Britain? Well, cuisine, not much, and I've never met a French person who likes Christmas pudding. They must exist, but I've never met one. They hate Christmas pudding, but they do like London taxis, whiskey, tweed, Oscar Wilde, and the lack of formality here. I think wine. Not probably the wine that I drank when I was a student, which came from Algeria, and it was very, very cheap and gave you an instant headache. But no, we drink a lot of French wine at home, particularly Chinon. Very difficult. I think probably the Channel Tunnel, because, I mean, for me, it's the best way of getting to France. I mean, second best was always going on the ferry from Newhaven to Dieppe. That was a really nice crossing. Or also the one from Plymouth to Roscoff. That was very good. But yes, I think the Channel Tunnel is terrific. It was proposed, I think, ages ago in the 19th century, and even after the First World War, there were big discussions about making it. But then the Second World War arrived, and they were shelved. I mean, anyway. Finally, it's there, and it's an extremely good way of getting to France.